than 1k or 100k, okay, somewhere around here. So we are still looking forward for more bearishness on BTC. So for that to happen, I'm even seeing a very nice trade call here. All right, we have, if this close bearish, you can put a sell right about on the 4-hour wick there. Mind you, this is the 4-hour time frame. Then looking left, you can just go for a 1:2. Okay, your 1:2 somewhere around here, which is looking left here. Okay, so 1:2 will give you around 100k. Okay, around the 100k area, or you can go for a 1:3. But remember, we trade from zones to zones. So this is actually a trade call for you guys. Hey peeps, at my FX right here, welcome back to my channel. So this is our usual weekly market forecast for the week of the 30th of June to the 4th of July. And by the way, happy new month guys. And so this is most likely the trading week for a new month and trading analysis for a new trading month ahead. Okay, so without further ado, let's dive into the business of the day and project 500 and 1,000 pips into the future, just like we normally do. So we're starting off with BTC. Okay, for BTC for last week, BTC was very awesome, just like you can see. All right, we had some 2 winning trades in a row, 1 lost, which was the last trade. Price just hooked us out before going our direction. Then we had our pullbacks there. And if you guys watch, like during last week, I placed this line here around the 102 area that we wanted price to come back, pull back into that area, and a drop to the downside. So you can see we were also anticipating price to go to the 98, between the 98 to the 96k, okay, which was this 96k and the 98k. So price rather reacted off that 98k and started being bullish from then. So for now, we are still very much bullish on BTCUSD. So let's since this is a new month, okay, so let's see how last month or June is going to close. Most likely June is going to close because we just have only 1 trading day remaining for June, which is just Monday. So most likely we'll have June still close bullish. Here on the monthly time frame, you can see what BTC looks like here on the monthly time frame. BTC has been in series, has been creating series of highs. Alright, has been creating series of highs, lows, and a new higher high has been created. Okay, so BTC has been very much bullish, and for last week too, we can see how BTC also. For last week, you can see how BTC also closed bullish. Okay, with this massive bullish engulfing candle right now. Okay, for last week. So let's go back to the hourly time frame to see how well you can make the best out of these trades. Okay, so as it stands, price is currently seated, looking left, price is currently seated on a support area right now. Okay, but we call this an area of interest. Okay, price is currently seated on an area of interest. So what you can do as it stands, you know, I like giving you guys, especially for BTC because it's being traded during the week. Okay, I like giving you guys a heads up. Okay, so you can just take your buys right about here. Okay, and if your stops can go all the way down here, okay, and you target your 1:2, 1:3 thereabouts, or you target the next zone of BTC, which is the 111, okay, which is 111,000, okay, which would be, I think that would, okay, we have already gotten to 111,000 before, so that would be price going back to 100% retracement level on BTC. So this is actually a trade for you guys, for those that are interested. But if you want to be more conservative, okay, let me hide this. If you want to be more conservative, you can wait for price to break this area. Okay, let's say you have a small account, you trade BTC, you can wait for price to break that area, retest, come back, then you can target this trend line, or you go to the 111, which is most like the 111k, which is the 100% retracement level. Okay, so you can go for your 1 hour time frame of 15 minutes to look for a breakout retest of this small range. Okay, this is like a consolidation right here. so it's safe, also like a conservative aspect. But if price close with this bullish engulfing candle, for me is a very good trade to take from here, okay, all the way to the upside. But we are still very much bullish. We could still have price breakdown here, okay, we could still have price breakdown here, come back to reacting off this other area. Let me extend that a little bit, okay. Then we can now have our proper bullish continuations, okay. So whichever way price reacts, okay, price happens, we are going to follow suit on price. So that's it on BTC. Up next is the US oil. So you can go as, because of this news, we are most likely going to have price open with a gap, okay. So you can just put your stops right below this 4-hour wick, okay, right below that 4-hour wick, and you target 100% retracement level, which are this week, or your 1:2 right about there. And we should be having some nice bullish continuations for US oil. So should be having price go back to 100% retracement level, which is 77 ounce. So for US oil for last week, okay, you can see we predicted the US oil into precision. We wanted price to open with a gap, and due to your brokers, okay, you see that there was a gap on Sunday when price opened. So this, but here you can't actually see that gap here. So price actually went back to our 100% retracement level, which was $77 per barrel, which is what we predicted last week for price to go. So price most likely, so during the week too, okay, since we saw this happening, but during the weekend before Monday market open, I think on Sunday or Monday market open, we heard the news of the peace talk, okay, Trump also dedicating a peace talk between the two countries, between Israel and Iran. So that's why when Trump initiated that peace talk, that was why we had all this drop, that massive drop on US oil. So that's why we did not have more continuations. If it were to be that the war would continue as it means to be, we would have had more bullish continuations to the upside, okay. So for now, price is seated on a very strong area of ours. So I actually have a trade here which I'm holding through the weekend, okay. Hopefully that goes well, which I'm holding through the weekend to the upside. So I have my stops down below these weeks, and we are targeting our first level TPs like 1:4, 1:3, thereabouts, around that zones. Then we are going all the way to 100% retracement level, because even though the war has ended, okay, we are still expecting some stuff to happen in the market, okay. So I'm very much bullish right about there on US oil, okay. So up next is the DXY. Right now I'm also seeing something that looks like a preceding head and shoulder, okay, something that may look like a head and shoulder right about there. So what does that mean? So we have the neckline here, so we could still have price drop from these zones all the way to the downside, okay. For the DXY, let's go to the monthly time frame, okay. Let's see what the DXY has done so far. So the DXY right now, okay, DXY is quite tricky. So where price currently is, price has entered now, is more like an OB, okay, more like an order block, okay, which is also a minor time frame resistance level where price is reacting. We have been having series of bearishness for the longest of times since the early of this year, since January till date, okay. So which most of it we have been able to catch the bearishness on site, okay. So we are still very much bearish on the dollar. The dollar has been weak since the year started, so we are still very much bearish. So let's go to the weekly time frame to see how the weekly time frame closed. We can see how last week actually closed with that massive bearish engulfing candle. So let's go to our 4-hour to make something out of this, okay. So for last week, we had price come back to retest this trend line, which also matches with this area of interest. That's why I said I don't like drawing trend lines, but maybe there's actually a video I'm going to make dedicated for trend lines for those of you that like drawing trend lines. And you can see the precision on these trend lines, how price tapped here, it started selling, price tapped here, started selling, price tapped here, almost tapped here for the fourth or third time, and the fifth time again. So this trend line is very much effective. Well, why I don't like drawing them is because if you look left, you see that these areas also matches with an area of interest. Okay, so most likely my trend lines are always most likely invisible. Okay, so we had price open from here, kick into that trend line and the area of interest, and we had a massive bearish week, which is what we had last week. Okay, so moving forward for this week, all right, we could see price do a break, retest this area of the 97 ounce. Okay, price break, retest the 97 ounce, and a push continuations to the downsides. Let's look left if we can find. Okay, let's go to the daily time frame. If we can find any support, let me make this to be visible on the hourly time frame too. Okay, so let's go back to the hourly time frame. So at least our next level target would be the 95 ounce or the 95 basis points right about here. Okay, 95 basis points for bearish continuations, or we could have price go even as deep as, let me draw a new zones right about here. Okay, we could even have price go this deep before we could have that bearish continuation to the downside. Okay, so do well to mark these areas on your phone, your PC, or your trading device. Up next is gold. If it gets strengthened, then we'll most likely be having a bearish gold. Okay, so for gold for last week, you can see how we predicted gold into precision. Price actually opened, I think, somewhere around here, and price started being bearish. So like you guys saw, I gave you guys a two-way scenario of price coming back to this area, coming to these other zones, retest, and it dropped all the way to the downside. So this was a very nice clean setup for us. And also let's go to the monthly time frame to actually see how the monthly time frame is closing and what we should be anticipating for the coming month. So we can see here on the month before, we had price closing with this indecision candle, now followed by a pin bar or a hammer, as you guys may call it. Okay, for the month of June. So we know what this kind of candle pattern means. Okay, and as we can also see on the monthly time frame, price has been on a massive move to the upside. Okay, so it's high time we also see price pull back, give us some sort of pullbacks on gold on the monthly time frame. So let's go to the weekly time frame to see how last week actually closed. Okay, so we can see how last week closed here with this massive bearish engulfing candle, so which is what we also anticipated for last week. So we could have more bearishness all the way, we could have more bearishness back to our 3,170 ounce right about here. Our price could go as deep as a 2,950 ounce to the downside. Okay, so let's go to the 4-hour time frame to see the best level targets and the best areas in which we could use to take these trade calls. Okay, so right now we can see price is also seated. Hold on. All right, so right now we can see price is actually seated on this trend line. Okay, so all what we just need to do is price to bounce off that trend line. Let me extend this a little bit for us. Okay, so all what we need to do is break, retest, and push continuations to the downsides. Okay, we could even have price go as deep as these zones. Okay, we could have price go as deep as that zones for our retests, then we can continue being bearish to the downsides like so for gold. Okay, so that's it for gold. Up next is USD to the upsides, and if price continues bearish, you can go to as low as your minutes time frame, your 1 hour time frame, wait for price to clear this support. Very important. wait for a 1 hour candle close, then you can take your sales all the way to the downside. So for USDCHF for last week, since it's directly correlated to the dollar index, the bearishness, it was also being bearish, same as the dollar index. Okay, so we had a bearish week on USDCHF, so price was all the way bearish to the downside, and which I believe most of you were able to take good positions from those trade calls. So let's check the monthly time frame to see how price actually closed on the monthly time frame. So looking left, you can see price has been very bearish, okay, since the face of this year 2025 to date. Okay, we have some massive bearish price projections to the downside. So let's go to the weekly time frame so we can see how the weekly close with that bearish engulfing candle. So let's go to the 4-hour time frames too to see the best levels that we can make sense out of this. Okay, so here on the 4-hour time frame, for me, I'll feel more comfortable if price gives us a pullback into this area and a drop to the downside. Then we can look for our next level target, which can be 0.785 to the downside. Okay, for us to say that we are now bullish, we have to see price clear this area, these highs, which is also these areas of interest. Okay, or also clear these zones too, which is the 0.80672 to the upsides. Okay, so that's it for USDCHF. Last but not the least, EURUSD, which is to continue bearish all the way to the downside. Then we should be also expecting another reaction right about the zone of the 1.145 area. Then we continue to the upsides. Mind you, we are still very much bullish. Okay, we can also see we have a trend line all the way from the downsides pushing price to the upsides, and price has been creating series of higher highs, higher lows, higher highs, higher lows, higher highs. So we'll most likely see a new higher low which has been created, or a deeper higher low created, then a continuations to the upsides for the bullish continuations for EURUSD. So that's it. We are still very much bullish. I'm not giving any bearish sentiment to this until price breaks some certain zones in which we can also take this to our advantage. So that's it for you. So welcome back. So for EURUSD for last week, you guys can see how we predicted this into precision. Okay, we had a win, then the last trade also in which we took, which were still very much bullish on EURUSD. Price took us out, wicked us out, went to our next level, our next zone, which is what you guys can see here. Remember we had two buy zones, which was this zone and this second zone. Okay, so price actually fell from the first buy zone but went into the second buy zone. I was very concentrating so much on other pairs in which I was trading, so since I took this loss, I did not even mind to take this particular trade again. But when I saw this massive bullish engulfing candle, I was tempted to take it, but my stop loss would have been ridiculously high, so that was why I did not want to take this trade. Okay, so it would have been almost like an 80 pip or 90 pip stops. Okay, although you still have a nice 1:2, but this was, I just thought we had probably a little bit pullback, so we could have at least a 40 pips or a 30 pip stop, then a continuation to the upsides. Okay, so for EURUSD, we are still very much bullish, and we had a bullish week for last week. As you guys can see, the DXY was bearish, so most likely EURUSD or inversely correlated pairs would be doing the opposite, which is bullishness. Okay, so let's look at the monthly time frame to see how price closed. Okay, we can see price actually broke out of these areas. Okay, though we had a little retest here on, I think, a daily time frame thereabouts on the lower time frames for EURUSD before we had our bullish considerations. Okay, so we have price. So as you can see here on the monthly time frame, price is actually headed to 1.226. okay, which is this 100% retracement level. So how well can we take advantage, or where can we take advantage to price headed to the 1.226 zones? Okay, so that's where we go to our hourly time frames. Okay, our hourly time frames. Mind you guys, you can remember this bullishness of EURUSD is something I projected since the 13th of May. Okay, which that was also the week that we had over a 5:5 winning streak during that period. Let me place a line there. I said I'm going to make a video, okay, since the 13th of May. This was the 12th, and I sent some good signals from this week, and we're able to be buying on our certain areas of interest. If you guys remember, you can still see this zone here and this arrow here, which was pointing price to come back to come to 100% retracement level, which is what we had. And now price has even created a new higher high, breaking out of these two highs and even the recent high right about there. Okay, so these are the things that we do when I tell you guys that we predict 500 to 1,000 pips into the future. Okay, so we see this is over 600 pips plus. Let me bring it down a little bit so you guys could see. Okay, from here, which is the 13th till date, so you can see over 670 pips bullish projections to the upside. So I said I'm going to make a dedicated video on this, but I keep being busy and I haven't had time to make that video. Okay, how I was able to project all of this to the upside. So that's why also, if you observe my trade calls on Euro, USD and GBP for the past 2 months, it has been bullish, maybe just few bearish trades, and the bearish trades, we understand that we are trading pullbacks, but the actual trend has been bullish trades, which is what I've been sending. Okay, so let's go to the 4-hour time frame to look for the best level areas in which we can send trades. So for me, let's go back to the daily. Let me make that area. Let's look left. The zone is quite very far, so I'm trying to look for the nearest zone we can pick for a resistance. Okay, let's make that to reflect on our hourly time frame. Okay, good. So let's go back to the 4-hour time frame. Okay, so here on the 4-hour time frame, though we know that price is heading to 1.226 to the upsides and 1.223, but you know we trade from zones to zones, so you have to pass from one zone to other. So from next week, or by next week, we would be having a sell to buy scenario. Okay, it sells pullbacks to this area. Okay, this area of interest, in which price would be coming back to that area, either these phase zones or as deep as these trend lines. Then we'll have bullish continuations to 1.190 before we can even go to the 1.223 to the upsides. Okay, so we trade from zones to zones. So that's it for this week, guys. Do want to mark this out on your phone, your trading device. And also, if you have any question, drop it on the comment section, or let us know your thoughts too on your own analysis for the trading week and how it has been with you. Do want to smash that subscribe button if you are yet to subscribe, like, share, and see you guys on the inner circle. And happy new month again. Wishing you a profitable trading month ahead. Cheers.